Hi everybody, and welcome back to the BizTech Academy. Today we're going to look at utilizing and combining two specific functions, and they're the functions of index and match. Combining index and match is an alternative to using VLOOKUP, and in many ways it's preferable. And what it can do, it can really help with providing detailed analysis and creating dashboards for businesses, for example. How we're going to do about this is I'm going to talk to you first of all about the scenario I've created, and then we'll go through an overview again of the index and the match function. There are other videos on those, but we'll do a quick overview for anyone who hasn't seen those, and then we'll look at two scenarios of combining them and what they can present and how powerful they are. Okay, so starting with the specific scenario that I've set up here, you'll see that we have a fictitious diner or restaurant, Steve's Special Diner, and Steve's Special Diner has 10 individual dishes on its menu. You can see there's a steak dish, a seafood dish, a chicken dish, and so on. And next to those dishes, there is an annual revenue, and that revenue is for each respective dish. What you can't see here, and you'll see as we go through this tutorial, is that the revenue is also broken down by 5 specific restaurants in 5 distinct cities in the Midwest of the US. But for the purpose of this early part of the tutorial, we'll just deal with the total revenue. So with the scene set, with the restaurant scene set, we'll now look at index, and then we'll move on to match as individual functions. So looking at index as a function, as you can see here, the index function returns the value of a specified coordinate of a given range of data. So what does that mean? Well, let's say in cell A5 here, we want to return Steve's spicy barbecue ribs from that particular range, from the range of A8 through to A17. Or to do that, we use the index function. So click back on the cell. We'll open up the formula builder from the F there, and we'll type in and search for index. We'll click on index and put insert function. Now in the insert function, before you can go in and put in your actual data, you need to choose which specific type of index function you want. And we always generally want the top one, which is looking at an array, a row number, and a column number. So if you press OK, drag this over, you can see it has the array, the row, and the column here. So the array is the range, it's the range of data. We've already decided it's going to be A8 through to B17. So we've highlighted that range in the array. The row number we want, and it's not the row of the workbook. So the workbook, for example, here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. It's actually the row number of the range. So here we've got 10 rows with 10 separate dishes in. Steve's spicy barbecue ribs is in row 5. So we want it in row 5. And in terms of column, we have 2 columns. Happen to be A and B, but numerically it's column 1 with the dishes in and column 2 with the revenue numbers in. And we want column 1 because we're looking to add into that particular cell A5, Steve's spicy barbecue ribs. So we put in column 1 and press done. In fact, you can see here the result, before you even press done, is Steve's spicy barbecue ribs. Press done, and there it is. So that's great. That searches that. And again, if you just double clicked on that, for example, we'll close the builder for the sake of now, double click on it again. If we change this to 5 to 6, which would be the 6th row down, right, then it would be vegetarian, fusion, delight, and so on. And again, if you wanted to change the 1 to 2, then it would be the revenue number, because the revenue number is in column 2. We'll just undo those 2 things. Now, so that explains what index does. In isolation, it's not something you necessarily use every day. It could be used for various things, but in isolation, it doesn't do a great deal. But when you combine it with other functions, it can be very, very powerful. So let's look at the match function. The match function returns a numerical row or column that a specific value is in. So it doesn't return the particular item in the range. It returns a reference number to where that item sits in the range. So if we click on here, B5, what we're going to do, we're going to try and find the reference number for Exquisite Pasta Paradise. Now we happen to know, when we look at this range, right, that it's in row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's in row 8. So we'd expect this to be to highlight number 8 if we look at it in that range. So if we start by opening the formula builder, we'll find match, and then we'll click on it and insert the function as normal. We'll bring that over. And as you can see here, you have 3 specific arguments or pieces of data that are required. What is the lookup value? So what is it we're trying to find? Second is the array. Where are we trying to find it? The range. Where are we trying to find it? And then finally the match type, which I'll explain in a second. So the lookup value. We want to find exquisite pasta paradise. That's what we're looking for. Click on the array. Where do we want to find it? We want to find it in the list of dishes. Okay, great. So then the match type. Match type, you either put in a 1, a 0, or a -1 here. Generally, you would always put a 0 in, because when you put in a 0, it's trying to find an exact match for what we've looked at, the value we're looking up. So here we'll put in 0, we'll press done, and it says already here that it's 8. We'll press done, and it says 8. And we know, as we've proven, exquisite pasta paradise is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is in row 8 of the table. So you have a reference number now for where that particular item is, and you can use that as a coordinate. And if you could use multiple coordinates, if you had them and you calculated them. So that's the index. It finds a particular value in from a range, and that's the match, which finds a coordinate of a value in a range. So how can you combine those, and what effect does that have? So if we now move to this first scenario, what we have here is we have the same data. So we have all the dishes and we have all the revenue. Nothing has changed from the previous two examples. But now we've got a list here. We've got Steve's Spicy Barbecue Ribs, and we've got a revenue title. We want to find the coordinates for the spicy barbecue ribs, and then for using those coordinates, we want to put the revenue into cell B6. So to do that, we'll use the match function and the index function respectively. Starting with searching for Steve's Spicy Barbecue Ribs and the coordinate associated with it, we'll press the F here, go back to the formula builder, look at match, press insert, drag that across so you can see it. And what we're looking for, the value, we're looking for Steve's Spicy Barbecue Ribs. The range, where are we looking? We're looking in the dish here, and we put a 0 because we want an exact match. And you can see here, it says the result is already 5, but we press done, it says 5. And we know full well 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's the spicy barbecue ribs. What we now want to do is we want to close this, and we want to find 846198, the revenue in the revenue cell here. And to do that, we use the index function and utilize the match of 5 here. So again, open the formula builder, go to index, insert function. We again want a row and a column here, so press OK. Now, drag this over, the builder over. Now, the range we're looking for, we want all the dishes and all the revenue, so we want that whole range. The row number, the row number we actually want is the coordinate we discovered. So we want the coordinate in B5. So if we click on B5, we can reference the match function that we've already utilized to recognize the row that the Steve's Spicy Barbecue Ribs is in. And then in terms of column number, we want to input the column that the revenue is in. So in this context, it's column 2. Column 1 is where the dishes are, column 2 is the revenue. So you would put number 2 for the column. And what it's then searching for, it's searching for row 5, column 2, which we know is 846198. And you can see here, there's the result. Press done, and that's 846198. Just close that. So it's using that coordinate and putting in the column coordinate of 2 for the revenue. It then highlights that. So if we just check and just try that with something different, let's just try it with vegetarian fusion delight. So if we type in that, vegetarian fusion delight, press enter, and as it says, it comes up with number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it comes up with 492884, which is the revenue for vegetarian fusion delight. That's great. So it automatically searches and pulls out the correct data for the dish that you input. The problem is that inputting all these long dishes every day for every time you want to look at a number, it can be quite laborious. So what you can actually do is create a list here. So if we go to the data ribbon, clicking on the cell that we want the item to be listed, and then go into data validation, where it says allow, click down and go to list. You've got a range here. Then click on the source and highlight where all the dishes are. Press OK, and then what you've got here is a drop-down menu with all the dishes, which is very useful. So if we just choose another one now, let's just choose Steve's Savory Chicken Fiesta. Click on that. It then shows that's at 1, 2, 3. and the revenue is 783,297. So that is correct. And you can do that one more time anywhere, it doesn't matter. Just click on the cell, click on the drop down, the gourmet burger. The burger is at 9, we know that, and the revenue is 118,753. Okay, so that's really, really useful if you're trying to pull out specific or search for specific items within a range of data. And of course, this is a small range of data. Many companies have far, far larger tables to work with. Now, what you can also do if you've got a slightly increased dimension in your analysis, and let's look at the final one we're going to here. What we have is again, the dishes all listed down. We have the total revenue here that we had before, but we now have a breakdown of all the 5 restaurants and their locations. It then also gives the revenue for those particular locations here broken down, and they all equal to the total revenue. And what you can do here now is create another dimension, so we can create a coordinate for the revenue and a coordinate for the dish, and we can use that to then add drop-down menus and search across different cities for the revenue per dish. So I'll show you. Again, we use the match twice, to find the dish, and a match to find the city, and then we use the index to find the revenue. So go back to our builder. We want to find match, insert the function. Let's bring it over here slightly. And we're going to, first of all, we're going to look for a dish, this particular example. The range, where do we want to find it? We want to find it in our list of dishes, and it will be a 0 because we want an exact match. Okay, so done. And 4, Mediterranean delight platter, is the 4th one in the table. Great. Close that. Okay, so if we now click on where the city is, we want to add the coordinate for the city. So what we would do is open up the formula builder again, match, insert. I'll keep this here now because we're going to use the range. We want to find Milwaukee, and we want to find it in one of these columns. Okay, and then we match the type as 0. Press done, and you can see that it is in number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in range 5, which is great. Okay, so we've done that. Now what we now need to do is put the index function in place to find the revenue. So again, open the builder, index, add in. We want again the array, row, and column. Okay, so the array, what's the range we want this to be found in? We want it to be found in that range. Okay, and we want the row number, right? So which row? We want the row to be this cell here, the match against the dish. That's what we want. And the column number, we want it to be the match against the city. Okay, so this suggests here, just as a sort of trial, the 585513 is the number we're looking for. So if we can just double check now, Milwaukee, and we've got Mediterranean delight, 58513. There you go. So if we press done, and there it is. 58513 is there. 58513 in there, which is Milwaukee and Mediterranean delight platter, which is great. And of course, you can do the same with all the other variations now. So if we just go back and do what we did in terms of drop-down menus, and in terms of the dishes, we go back into our data validation. We open the allow drop-down and type list. Then in the range, we go to all the dishes. Okay, and press OK. And then you can see here we have all the dishes, which is great. If we then do the same for Milwaukee or the city, data validation, we go to list, check the range. And in this case, what we want is we don't want to list, have a drop down of dish location and revenue, because it doesn't matter. It's only going to be the cities. We just highlight the cities. Okay. And then we have 2 drop downs here. So now if I want to look at, I don't know, Steve's Surf and Turf Bonanza in Milwaukee, then we know it's at number 7. And we also know that it's number 5 for Milwaukee. So therefore it's 35379. If we then change Milwaukee to Chicago, which we know is number 2 in this particular range, the number you want is 44223. And that's it. That's it. It then allows you to utilize this or play around with this and search different data as you want to. And this particular combination of functions is really, really useful if you're trying to create business dashboards or even home dashboards for your own personal expenditure or whatever it is you're doing as a hobby that requires this sort of work. Okay, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or anything to say, we're a relatively new channel, so it'd be great to have some feedback. And again, if you also want some different functions explained or any other parts of Excel you're unsure on, let us know in the comments and we'll put a video out on that. In the meantime, it'd be great if you can give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and press the alert button. We are releasing videos every day, so you should get regular content. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.